Good day, everybody. Kind of feel bad. I just scolded my little puppy for, well, he's not little, but he's about 100 pounds. So he decided he wanted to get some attention right when I was going to come out to you guys. Uh, this is 0 hour, no one unscripted. And I will talk briefly about what is turning out to be an unprecedented transition of presidential power in the United States. The transition of power between American presidents going back to over 240 years has never had this type of um, a volatile, a cantankerous, and combative tone. At no point has a sitting American president cast doubt on the election systems and every uh, department of his own government that has come out and said that there has been no election fraud. And on Twitter, Mr. Trump continues to spread lies and um, incite others to do the same with the intention of overturning the elections, absent any proof, absent any evidence, and doing it in a court of public opinion and not in a court of law. Uh, and this is getting closer and closer and closer to the point where it won't be redeemable, and all of a sudden it's going to switch from seditious conspiracy to sedition and treason. And the gray area is very little. And I think the gray area will completely be uh, gone after January 6th. So we really have to pay attention to what he does and what he says from now till January 6th, while we also pay attention to the January 5th Senate runoffs in Georgia, which early voting has already started. So if you're watching this and you live in Georgia, hopefully you register to vote. It's early voting has started, so please contact your local counties, municipalities, election boards to see where you can either drop off your absentee ballots or vote in person. So while we do that, on the day after that, on January 6th, Congress will count the Electoral College votes in Congress, and then Vice President Pence will announce the results of that count and therefore the winner of the presidential election in 2020. I would say that Mike Pence will not do anything that is out of the ordinary. If you notice that he has been relatively out of the fray from all this propaganda that Donald Trump has been spreading since election was called on November 7th. And I believe that he's going to continue to do his constitutional duty. He doesn't really have much of a discretion in what he does when he's there. He just has to count and report the votes and then announce who won the vote. So I believe that he's going to go ahead and do that. And we already know that the GSA, the Government Services Administration, has already started to do the transition through the GSA chief, Emily Murphy, after public pressure. And people called her out to be racist. I didn't do it. I just said, do your job. She needed to do her job. And today I come and talk to you hours after Hawaii was the last state to cast electoral college votes, and then Joe Biden came out and spoke after the electoral college voted so that we can move forward. So the electoral college has voted. That is done December 14th. And still Donald Trump refuses. Remember, he said in a press conference, if the electoral college speaks and declares a winner, will you abide by it? And he said, of course I will. I will. And actually he said, will you leave the White House? And he said, of course I will. So he will leave the White House. We know that. But before that, he's going to do everything to destroy everything and everyone around him. And mind you, during his administration, and it's still his administration now, Russia has been causing a storm through their traditional channels of the GRU, and now we know with SolarWinds from even their spy agency, which is not a military agency, it's a spy agency, which does traditional clandestine operations. Now, what is clandestine operation now has to be redefined. What is warfare? Are we in the middle of a warfare if we are being hacked and our gas systems and our power systems and our basic infrastructure systems are becoming vulnerable because of softwares that have malware in it? Does this classify as cyber warfare? There has to be a coordination between the Pentagon and other departments of the government. None of that is Donald's priority anymore. He doesn't really care anymore. And the fact that he doesn't care about anything but himself is quite evident now. But the fact that because of that, he is literally destroying the foundations of our country's security is also becoming quite apparent. So from now, for the next 2 weeks, I implore every American to keep your eyes open, to remain vigilant for any of these fractious elements to come out. And if you want to learn more about these, just go back to my previous videos, the one right before it and the one right before it and the right before it. 0 hours full of these videos that provide you with what I believe to be information that's giving a background of what's happening and what's to come in the near future. So you can expect more Proud Boy rallies. You can expect more sporadic violences. You can expect more Black Lives Matter banners burning, which one of the church pastors in Washington, D.C. said reminded him of cross burnings back in the Jim Crow and then McCarthyism and all throughout American history. So you're going to see more of that. And the reason you're going to see more of that is because the impetus for that violence and that misinformation and the seditious information to undermine our security and our general welfare is coming straight from the outgoing president of the United States, who lost the election by 7 million popular votes and today has officially lost the Electoral College vote, 306 for Joe Biden to 232 for Donald Trump. So anything he does that sheds doubt on that process, absent proof and present that proof in a court of law, and then be made public through proper channels of the press, anything short of that is seditious conspiracy ongoing on Twitter in front of our faces, being lifted up by his enablers, his agents, who are also state actors and not protected by Section 230, because the intent of Section 230 is to protect the internet against violations of federal law. This, however, what he's doing is squarely within the violations of 18 U.S.C. 2384, seditious conspiracy, and he, after defying the Supreme Court and now after defying the Electoral College count, the last step to see whether he actually had this intent to be from the very start will be what happens on January 6th. And once that happens, if he still says that this isn't legitimate, then you know for a fact that 18 USC 2384 has been completed and he has now stepped into the territory of treason. And so our government officials, our administrators, our elected officials, and even common citizens like me have to put our voices up, stand up and say what's happening now is treason against my country, against the vote that I cast, and take the proper steps necessary by calling the U.S. attorneys to start and open investigations and charge people with, if nothing else, seditious conspiracy, and then moving forward. And that includes everybody from Sean Hannity to Lou Dobbs to Janine Pirro to Laura Ingraham to Jack Sobek to Corey Lewandowski, Rudy Giuliani, Jenna Ellis, all of these people, Sidney Powell, anyone who utters misinformation and disinformation about election fraud absent evidence and does so in a court of public opinion at a time when truth and information about our election is paramount, They are working against the government of the United States, against the soundness and the foundations of democracy, and they will be held liable. And the only way they'll be held liable is if they are called out and their actions are brought to light. And I call on every single American to do just that in your own way, whether it be on YouTube talking just ad nauseum like I am, or tweeting and retweeting, or going out there and reporting, and the leaders who are reporting, and be heroes and be safe. And the nurses, interview the nurses, let them tell their stories. Let us hear those stories. We don't need to hear about stupid shit that's happening in every corner of the world. We need to hear about what these nurses and these heroes are going through every day, these delivery people who are delivering. We need every single media channel to be looking at that. And we also need every single media channel to be looking at what's happening exactly with the fractious movements that are oh, thank you so much. Yes, I'm live, but I can't chat right now simply because I'm talking. Thank you, Uriel, for visiting. Hi. And so we need to really, really focus on one side on reporting these our heroes who are working tirelessly. Their stories, the harrowing stories of people who have gone into ICUs saying that they are so sick and they still don't believe that they have COVID, and it's insane. And once they're on a ventilator, they come out of it and then they tell the nurses, oh my God, I can't believe this. And like I said in my previous video, even day before yesterday, I talked to a Trump voter who was willing to give me his voter information online just to prove that he had voted for him. And now he feels duped after the Texas Supreme Court ruling. And today, after the Electoral College confirmed it, it is now written in stone. So we need to be vigilant. Yeah, we need to know what our rights are. We voted, our vote was counted, it was counted properly, and we want our government back. So remember this, January 6th, that is the date. From January 6th to January 20th, whether there will be peace or whether there will be conflicts and riots and violence and deaths and damage to property between the 6th of January and the 20th of January depends entirely on Donald Trump not inciting sedition. And if he continues to, after January 6th, you will know that he has completed the all the elements of the federal violation of 18 U.S.C. 2384, and he has now completely stepped into the territory of sedition and treason. And every single agent, every single state actor that is working with him towards that end also become liable. And mind you, they don't have presidential immunity. Mind you that it is possible that even on January 19th, after doing all of this, he resigns, directs Mike Pence to take office, and for 24 hours, Mike Pence becomes president of the United States, pardons him for all of these crimes that he's committing, which is what he's goading the vice president to do, which I believe something that he might do. And maybe this is all a ruse to do that. And then every single one of his agents, he leaves hanging for seditious conspiracy. I can see that happening. Or I can see that the incoming transition literally have to take him out. Or he can be a man about it after 4.5 years of being a crying, whining baby and go ahead after January 6th, when these votes are counted as a formality, mind you, because they have already been certified and finalized in the states. They cannot be changed in Congress. They cannot be appended by Congress. Congress, there aren't enough people there. The Electoral College votes aren't close enough. None of that is possible. All they can do is try and get in the way of the process and fill the minds of fellow Americans with lies about election fraud where there isn't any. So you have to be vigilant. Check up the news, check your sources, recheck your sources, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 news sources before you can believe the news you're hearing. Don't believe me. Don't trust me. I don't want you to. I want you to want me to be a strange reference points. So you can go out there and then you can go to 5 or 6 different sources and you can check for yourself. And then you make up your mind to see what is true and what is not true. But give yourself the time to learn about this thing, to learn that our country is in a very, very, very precarious position at this point. And this man is inching us closer and closer and closer and closer to instability, to another avalanche of unseen traumas, to militant movements and people going into jail, and the prison systems are already overflowing and full of COVID, and then presenting the incoming administration with a hot mess, which we're already in. So, I think it's time for every American to step up. I think we need to do every single thing that we can. I think the next month will be telling of who we as a people are and what we can do for our country, because our country needs us. Our president-elect needs us. Our governmental security needs us. And let us be aware online. Let us not get angry with people. Let us realize that there are many who have been duped. Let us realize that the fractious elements are there to sow chaos and hate. Their objective isn't to bring peace and bring people together and grow. It's just to cause chaos and to create an environment of instability, of trauma, because within them there's that trauma or that insecurity for whatever reason. And that's a completely different topic that we're going to talk about later in a different episode. But for this topic, you have to realize that you need to be safe, you need to be vigilant, and go out there. If you want to protest, remain safe. If you see that you're not safe, record what's happening, make phone call to authorities, and then get to a safe place. So I will be posting these videos, intend them to be short, and I talk fast to get the information out. The previous videos that I've done are about the laws, about seditious conspiracy, and then about the Texas case ruling. And today is about, thank you, Uriel. Yeah, there really is too much going on over there. I really don't blame anybody anywhere around in the world, Uriel, for, and by the way, Uriel, my angel, Uriel Sacred Tarot Guidance, and Uriel Firelight Sacred Tarot Guidance. If you follow the divination arts, please go and visit her. She will give you guidance, and it'll be on point. I'll tell you that much. We all have belief paradigms, and we all believe in some things. And I believe in everything and nothing, because I am always a cynic and a skeptic, and I always have to double check and triple check and quadruple check, and then also realize that what I'm looking for is something that is just for my personal perspective. It is important that we know that it is not for us to impose our beliefs on others, but to stand strong within ourselves with these beliefs. So I stand strong with my belief in my guidance in divination and in tarot and in my angel Uriel and in Scorched Earth and in every single person and in Associated Press and Reuters and CNN and Nature and Science News and BBC and every other source of information, and let it condense in your mind. God has given you, the universe, after billions of years of evolution, has given you a brain. Use it, expand it, think, and there is no limit to where your mind can go, and then stretch it and then bring it right back. Let it breathe in and breathe out, and think. Do research and hold these truths to be self-evident that we were all created equal. And we are going to get through this. We're going to make it through COVID. We're going to make it through our this orange nightmare that we've had for 4.5 years. And we are going to get Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to the Oval Office. And then we're going to rebuild our country, and we're going to heal the world. We're going to face on, head on climate crisis. We're going to deal with renewable tech, not just solar, everything else. We're going to deal with healthcare, the criminal justice system. We're going to deal with immigration, the refugees, to be able to provide food for everybody who is poor and not. Did you know that 1 in 4 kids in the world today are food insecure? I mean, come on, really? And there are about 650 people in the world, 650 people in the world whose cumulative wealth individually comes to over $1 trillion for these people. I mean, what are they going to do with it? They can never reach heaven with those dollars. They can never. Heaven is a state of mind. And if your state of mind is just hoarding, then you're not in heaven. I'll tell you that much. You're always worrying about how much more you can make and who's taking from you. So give it away, people. I mean, come on. Don't say you will, just do it. Don't squabble about how much a vaccine is going to cost to give to other people. Don't squabble about it costing $300 billion to provide stimulus checks for every American when they're lining up behind food trucks and getting canned foods and going to soup kitchens right now during Christmas in the United States, supposedly the richest country in the world with the most amount of billionaires. What kind of a shameful thing is that for you as an American, for me as an American to have to deal with? I had to call and tell my mother, don't send me anything for Christmas or my birthday. Give the money to Food Kitchen. In fact, you never have to give me anything for my birthdays or anything. Just give to these people who don't even have food. How have we gotten to this place in the last 4 years? And how is the man who's supposed to take care of the country doing the only thing he knows how to do and has been doing for the last 4 years, which is taking care of himself? And now descending our country into chaos. This is seditious. It is treasonous. He has completed seditious conspiracy as a crime. And unless he is pardoned by Mike Pence on the last day of him being POTUS, and then Pence is president for a day, he's going to face the consequences. And even with the pardons, the state attorney generals are coming for him, and everything and every single one of the people who are aiding and abetting this seditious conspiracy. So I have ranted. I'd like to thank everyone who has watched. Thank you, Uriel, so much for coming and supporting me. I really, really appreciate it. Y'all know that I'm not in the habit of asking for likes or anything. If you like it, if you don't like it, you're more than welcome to do like or unlike, and then say so. But if there's factually inaccurate information, about election fraud, absent proof that has previously been presented in a court of law, and then out to the public through the proper channels of press, I will not publicize those, and I will report those. Other than that, any personal attacks, bring it on. I'll just send it right back to Trump when I troll his Twitter. So I'll talk to you soon. I love you. E pluribus unum.